Hello, everybody. I can see that some of you have joined us in the chat over on the Facebook's page. We probably need to do this so you can see us. There we are. All right. As we get things started, let's just give you a quick reminder that you can find us on, first off, I guess we probably need to announce who we are. Who are you?
I'm Roxanne.
And I'm Dan, and together we are the Stafford Voice. That's right. You guys can follow us over on the social medias if you choose to. You can take a look over at Twitter, at Stafford Voice. You can obviously, you've probably found us on Facebooks as well. All you gotta do is just search for the Stafford Voice. Or on the Instagrams. It should just be pretty easy. All you gotta do is just search for the Stafford Voice. And if you haven't figured it out, it's pretty easy to find us. It's just one Stafford Voice search away. Also, if you're not doing so, please keep up to date on things going on over at thestaffordvoice.com. I've got an idea for a post. Woo! It's going to be a doozy. Yeah, we talked about it earlier.
Yes.
So
I know what you're talking about.
So, yeah, I'm going to work on that. So you'll need to stay tuned to see when that one comes out. Should be pretty good. It's really going to push my boundaries.
Mine too.
So, yeah.
Why did we choose to read this book?
Why we chose to read this book is beyond me. But it's pretty obvious. It's something that all of us have struggled with, and that is boundaries. Yeah, boundaries. It's a tough topic.
Very tough.
We've really kind of figured that out the hard way over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've been reading it for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been reading it for a couple of weeks now. And I had no idea that the topic of boundaries was this involved.
I think I maybe had a little bit of an idea, but once you start reading and talking about things, it's like, oh man.
I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Oh man. Okay. So what are we talking about tonight?
We are talking about boundaries and marriage.
boundaries in, what are you talking about, boundaries in marriage? It's marriage with boundaries. It's just kind of a self-conflicting statement.
I know. When we first talked about, when this chapter was going to be ours to read.
If you haven't figured out, the cat in the background has no idea about what boundaries are.
She's not reading the book.
No, she's not. She does listen to our discussions.
Well, sometimes she's sleeping.
For the most part. She's absorbing. Let's put it that she's absorbing. I think she's having some problems going to the bathroom.
Well, and then I think her tummy's upset too.
Yeah. So, the idea of marriage and boundaries kind of is a self-conflicting topic.
Well, I think some people probably need to, because there's some relationships that aren't very good and they need the boundaries. But, I don't know, it was weird. I was thinking, man, I don't need to really read this chapter. We're fine, nothing wrong with us. Well,
speak for yourself, then. But I have a lot. I got issues.
I know I do too.
Yeah.
I tell you them all.
We talk about them all the time. However, instead of just talking amongst ourselves, we've opened the discussion up with you guys. Whether you're listening to the podcast, and we appreciate that, or you're watching us live stream this, we've kind of busted down some barriers, aka boundaries. And we've kind of let you guys into our lives as we take on this topic. And
we still have some boundaries. I mean, what we discuss doesn't necessarily is everything that we discuss with you guys either.
But we give you guys a window to look into what we're dealing with, and we've learned some things from you guys as we've shared things on social media, and so for that I'm thankful. But this, I have to admit, all week I thought to myself, in preparation of putting the show together, I thought to myself, what the heck does boundaries in marriage have to do with each other? Because marriage, the whole idea is you're trying to work to become one.
Well, when you get married, it's two becoming one is what usually...
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have this idea of boundaries, which is very restricting and...
makes people separate?
It does. It creates a separateness, if you will. So, forgive me if it seems like my voice seems kind of funny. I'm sitting over here, the air is on and it's blowing right on me and it's giving me the chills. So, and my allergies have started to act up right now. I don't know why. It's just random. Usually it only does it in the mornings, but...
Well, mine acts up when rain is in the forecast, and it's in the forecast for later this week, so I feel like...
Yeah.
Itchy and sneezy and everything, and...
So...
More issues.
Yeah, issues. We have plenty of issues. So, and a lot of people have issues with boundaries in their marriage.
Yes.
And so this was actually an interesting topic that we talked about before the show. And, I took a couple of notes that we'll kind of refer to and that we discussed. But... yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts going into this week?
I didn't feel like we needed to read it because I felt like we were fine. I mean, I think our marriage is good.
I would agree. I think we have a good marriage. We've
come a long way.
We have. We've come a long way.
There's some rough years.
Yeah. But it makes the good years that much better.
Yeah.
When you have something to go off of, when you have some of those bad years to look back on and say, man, we could go back to that, but we've established some boundaries that
we didn't even really
know.
We
didn't even realize that we had them. I didn't even realize.
I didn't either until we started reading the chapter, and I'm like, wait, we already do that. So I guess it's just kind of what we learned over the years.
Yeah. So. And it kind of became second nature, almost. Yeah. And like I said, I didn't even realize that some of these boundaries were in play, but they're there.
Yeah.
So, let's jump right into this. Let's talk about some of these common problems that people may have in their marriage. One of which was their feelings.
Yes, feelings. Everybody has feelings.
Yeah, it hits me right in the feels all the time.
Okay.
So what do we got for feelings? Yeah, you know how I am. I kind of try and I simplify it for myself. I wrote down vulnerability. Your feelings, you have to express yourself. Express yourself! It always does that.
For you, not for me.
Okay. So, the topic of feelings, what did you get out of this?
You have to talk about your feelings with your spouse. Whether this made you upset, you need this to change, or whatever it is that's bothering you, basically. Whether it's what your spouse did or didn't do, or if it's just something else in your life, you need to communicate with your spouse. So, feelings and your thoughts.
And I want to go back to that whole idea of it's self-conflicting, because this idea that, okay, well, I need to express my feelings because there's been a boundary issue. And whether I've expressed it or not, there's a boundary. Obviously, there's a boundary issue. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been kicked in the feels. But you're working to become closer together,
mm-hmm.
and you're sharing your feelings. And most people would say, okay, well, my feelings are hurt by this. And that could cause people to. There could be a wedge driven and make it difficult for some people, and it may cause some separated. You need to separate from each other, but ultimately the idea of sharing your feelings is to bring you closer to somebody.
And I agree. I think it does.
I think it creates a different level of, for lack of a better word, intimacy.
Yeah.
And,
intimacy is more than just one particular thing.
Right.
It's a whole wide range of different things.
So, for those of you that are watching or listening, don't get the idea that we're only referring to, what happens in the bedroom, or kitchen counter, or couch, or wherever it is that's going to happen. But to each their own. It's 2018, right? So, but the idea of intimacy, I'm sharing my feelings, I'm being open, I'm being vulnerable, is saying, you've crossed the line, but that's okay, because eventually it's going to bring us closer together.
Yeah, well, sometimes depending on, I guess for me, I don't really feel like sharing my feelings with you is a bad thing. I feel like it's a good thing, because there's not very many people that I'm open to, that I'm vulnerable to open and share my feelings to, because I don't necessarily feel that comfortable sharing it with everybody. I feel comfortable with you. Sometimes I may not like what you tell me.
And I know that, trust me, there's plenty of times where I don't like what you tell me.
But then I think about it and I'm like, he was right. I mean, we talked about a few things earlier today, and I was kind of like, he's right. But I think it brings you closer together, and then I can feel like I can share more with you.
Right.
Rather than keeping it all to myself and not sharing it with anybody.
So we debunked the myth. Did we just debunk this myth that feelings are going to cause separation?
It might at first, until each party probably thinks about what was said and maybe
I think you have to realize that, oh wow, brain just went just completely blank.
We're talking about feelings.
Yes, I know that. I completely forgot what I wanted to say.
I don't know.
I know you don't know. Anyway, maybe I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Okay, so our next thing was our desires or our wants. I want something or I desire something, which creates what I wrote down in our notes from our discussion earlier was you have to take responsibility for things. I have to take responsibility for the things that I want.
Yes.
And the things that I desire, and same for you.
Yes.
And I have to, but again, this goes back to what we had talked about one of the previous episodes on boundaries is I have to respect that. This is a two-way street.
Yeah. Each person's thoughts or feelings and desires, you have to respect the others.
Yeah, but we mutually have the same level of responsibility because we're together. This is a marriage. It goes back to that you're two become one thing. If we want to work together as a couple, then we have a responsibility to each other, right? To share what each other wants. If I want barbecue for dinner,
and I want Mexican,
and you want Mexican, there's an issue. So there has to be communication. We have to
compromise.
And compromise. So what do? We come up with something else and go get blizzards or something instead. Or we go to the store and rummage through the pumpkin spice aisle. We got some pumpkin spice stuff tonight.
Yeah.
What? I mean, we didn't even talk about that.
You put it in your notes, but you didn't. Would you advertise it?
Yeah. So did you have anything else to add to that? To that thought?
Other than that, you have to communicate your desires and what you want to your spouse. They can't read your mind, so.
Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and dig out one of our first things and then obviously, of course, you're going to go for the Ghirardelli. You're going to go for the chocolates.
It's right here on top of the other item.
Okay, so dig into that. Open that up. So we unopened package of the fall assortment of Ghirardelli chocolates.
The only reason why I got this is because it has the pumpkin spice caramel in it.
Yes.
But it also had other ones that I felt like sounded really good.
That we would probably eat anyway.
But we're going to try the pumpkin spice.
We're going to try only the pumpkin spice one here for the show. Okay, so the next common problem that came up was a limit on what I can give. Meaning that I only have so much time that I can give. Do you need some help?
Probably.
I only have so much time that I can give to help.
They glued it on there.
Well, they have to keep it sealed.
I know, but that's like when people need chocolate, that's a difficult problem.
This is a boundary that together I think we can overcome.
Yeah, but that was difficult. So forget that.
Okay, so we have to find what color. Nope, that's milk chocolate caramel.
The color's right there.
I know, that's what I was trying to find. That's not one. Okay, so explain to me about this one.
Well, I guess the example, I don't know how to explain it really. One of the things in here that I highlighted for this, what we can give is problems arise when we blame someone else for our own lack of limits. Often spouses will do more than they really want.
Bless you.
What they really want to, and then resent the other for not stopping them from overgiving. I guess it just all goes back to communication. I mean, if you want your spouse to do something or to help you with something, you have to communicate with your spouse about them helping you with that particular thing, and then they have to say, okay, well, this is what I can or can't do.
Yeah.
And you can't get mad if you don't communicate that.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people...
Yeah.
Any relationship rather than just marriage. But
right. You know, and it's... Again, it goes back to taking responsibility. Who is responsible for this? It's a two-way street. And again, it goes back to communication. You have to communicate things. You know, if I need time for something, I have to communicate that. If I need more time with you on something, I need to communicate that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. That boundary can't be. You can't breach a boundary if you don't.
If the other doesn't know what.
If nobody else knows what the boundary is.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, if you're in the chat and you're watching or you're listening, you know, feel free to jump in and leave some comments. We'd really appreciate it on anything that we're talking about. Let's talk about some of the laws of boundaries. You know, we've talked about in a past show about some milk chocolate pumpkin spice caramel.
That we didn't talk about.
No. But there are various laws of boundaries that are kind of set in stone.
No, I was just waiting for you. You were talking.
No, I opened it for you.
I didn't want you to interrupt you while you were talking.
No, you're fine. And the first one is you reap what you sow. You know, it's... If you're not doing what you need to be doing, you're not going to get it. Or if... What did they kind of communicate in the... What was the story that went along with this one? You know, there's consequences for things.
For the law of sowing and reaping?
Mm-hmm.
Natural consequences are falling on the shoulders of the responsible party. Like, what example did they give in here?
Yeah, I thought there was an example that they were talking about.
Just basically, like, if a spouse is yelling at the other spouse, the one who's being yelled at can basically say, you know, I'm not going to talk to you while you're yelling at me. I'm going to step away. Or they talked about, there was the chronic lateness, the wife who was always late when they were going somewhere, and the husband would be like, okay, we need to leave.
I'm guilty of this one. I'm guilty. Yeah, I'm going to throw myself under the bus for this one for just a second. There was a time, I'm going to say one word and you're going to laugh, laundry.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to laugh at that.
Probably, no, you're not going to laugh. So, there was a particular time where laundry, I guess, needed to be done or something. And it came down to the fact that I was extremely selfish in getting the laundry done, and I sorted through all the clothes, pulled out all of mine.
Well, because I don't think I had done it yet.
You didn't.
And so instead of you saying, hey, let's get the laundry done, you just went through the whole entire pile of laundry and took out just your clothes and washed them.
Boy, I was going to show her. Did it work? No.
I got the laundry done on time.
I also got mine done, too.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. That was before we knew what was happening. Okay. We have a comment in the chat that says, you can't honor someone's boundaries if you don't know what they are. Exactly it.
You have to communicate.
You do. So, in our personal, our story that I just shared about the laundry, I thought maybe I had communicated the fact that the laundry needed to get done.
Well,
I didn't see any action, so I showed action. The consequences of my actions wasn't as pleasing to me as I had anticipated. I anticipated you saying, "Oh crap, I better jump on the laundry because he's just taking charge," and that's not a good thing because the whites are going to come out pinks and the greens are going to come out blues or something weird.
They were all your clothes anyway, so if it came out all one color, that would have been your fault.
Exactly.
That would have been an actual consequence.
It would have been a consequence, and it would have been something. So I sowed what I reaped. That's a good way to look at this. Was the consequence of my action was what I was going to put on myself.
I think if anything, it made me mad that you did that, because I'm like, well, I have clothes that I need to wash too. Why couldn't you just wash the whole entire load?
So in the end, I looked like an ass. Okay, thoughts on the pumpkin spice caramel?
It was okay. I'm glad I didn't buy just the bag of it. Are you okay? Mm-hmm.
Chocolate went down the one pipe. You only got one. Anyway.
For the longest time, I thought you had two. Because my grandma used to say when you would choke on something, she'd like, oh, I went down the wrong pipe. And I always thought you had two pipes in your throat. One was, I don't even know what they were for, but apparently, if you were choking.
Otherwise, people would wind up with half a hot dog or something stuck in a lung. They're jumping around, and you can hear the hot dogs sloshing around. Okay, anyway. So, the next law was the law of responsibility. What do you got for that one?
It just says people who set limits exhibit self-control and show responsibility for themselves. They act responsible to their partner by confronting him or her. Setting limits is an act of love in the marriage. By binding and limiting the evil, they protect the good. So it's basically being responsible for your own actions. So
yeah. And if you don't take responsibility, what are you even what are you even in it for anyway?
Well, none of your relationships are going to be that good.
Nothing.
If you don't.
And to even go on a broader spectrum of things, what are you willing to take responsibility for? If you signed up. Sounds like you're talking with a reverberator.
What's a reverberator?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know where that one was going.
Okay, for a minute I felt kind of silly that maybe you knew what it was.
I was too. Maybe that's a comment to trying to choke on chocolate or something. I don't know. Two pipes, one of them's for air. Okay. This is Boundaries 101. Let's just not get into Anatomy 101 because neither one of us are prepared for that.
I don't think I would make it through. I'd probably be queasy by halfway through. That's why I'm not in the medical profession.
So I think we can all agree that, the law of responsibility is you need to be responsible for whatever is happening.
For your own actions.
For your own actions. And the next one is you can only control yourself. And that just goes without saying. I can't control you. I can ask you to do something, but I can't control you. I can't make you do something. I can't make you go do the dishes.
I do the dishes anyways,
I
because
know.
apparently I'm OCD about the dishes.
You are. You put things in a certain spot, and the forks have to face a certain way, and the knives and the spoons and the plates. Oh my, it's just.
But it makes it easy for the silverware when you're done. You can just grab that stack and put it in there.
I apologize if you guys are getting an echo.
I'm not. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what you're hearing on that end.
Yeah, I don't know what you're hearing on that side.
Maybe that's
maybe that's what the previous comment was. So anyway, you can only control what you can control, and that's yourself. I can control myself to the point to where I can say, okay, here's the boundary, accept it or not. The other one was boundaries are for you. No. I make it easier for me to understand.
Yeah,
I know you try and keep up with my notes.
I know we were doing that last part.
No, I'm up here.
Okay, well, see, I thought...
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Oh.
Okay. Boundaries are for you, nobody else. Boundaries aren't you're not putting something up to protect anybody else. Your boundaries are there to protect one person, and that's yourself.
Yeah. Well, they kind of talk about that throughout the whole entire book.
Right.
So,
that's now, together in a marriage, as a couple, you can put together boundaries that are couple boundaries to where, okay, well, because that way it would make it easier in another type of situation that you might find yourself in, like a family party or something, or you're being asked to go over to somebody's house. I'll just throw some random idea. You're going over to a friend's house for game night. Well, you've already established boundaries as a couple that says, okay, well, if it falls within this, then no, I'm sorry, we can't. So again, that goes back to a respect thing.
Like if one person's able to go but the other spouse isn't, then maybe you should just say we can't go together.
Or you've set up a boundary that says, okay, well, if our child has a game or a concert or something else going on, then that takes precedence over going to a game night. Then that makes it easier to communicate to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that one almost kind of takes care of itself.
A lot of these kind of did.
Yeah, but to talk about them makes it a little easier to understand. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Some of these were kind of foreign before we talked about them earlier, and when you talk about them openly, it makes things a little easier to understand. So. What about exposing yourself? The law of exposure.
Like vulnerability?
Yeah.
I don't like that word.
No.
Makes me scared.
Nobody likes that. So, exposing your boundaries.
The one thing I highlighted in here that I liked was boundaries need to be communicated first verbally and then with action. There needs to be clear... They need to be clear and unapologetic. So I guess that's kind of like saying, this is what I need.
Yep.
This is what I'm going to be doing.
Take it or leave it. Yep. Hashtag sorry not sorry. So, oh, yeah. Boundaries in a marriage. Who would have ever thought, I mean, honestly, who would have ever thought that they were this complicated?
I didn't. I thought when we first started reading this book, it was just going to say, okay, this is how you need to draw a boundary, this is what you need to do, go at it.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this and I'm like, oh.
There's a lot more that goes into it than just saying, okay, I have a boundary. I'm just going to say no to things. Or I'm going to say yes to certain things. Well, yeah, that's a boundary, but there's more to it. There's the quote unquote the science behind it all, and that's kind of what we're doing here and breaking it down. So I'll tell you what. Are you okay with taking a quick little break?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a quick little break, and then when we come back, we will talk about our next pumpkin spice thing for the night. I'm slightly excited about that one.
I am. Oh, I was excited about the chocolate.
The chocolate, in my opinion, the chocolate was pretty good. I would actually eat those.
Well, you can have the rest of those then.
There's probably only one more in the bag.
That's fine. That's
yeah,
fine.
there wasn't very many of them, and I had to dig all the way to the bottom to get to one.
I'm glad we got the assortment bag and not just pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have been able to eat all of those.
Yeah, would have been tough.
Yeah.
But I think they're good.
They're okay.
I thought they were good.
They're okay.
There's not a lot of pumpkin. It was more of a nutmeg type flavor to me, but whatever. We can sit and debate it all we want, but if we don't go to a break and then come back, then we'll never finish what we wanted to talk about real quick. So when we come back, we'll introduce you to our next pumpkin spiced treat for the evening, and then we'll talk about boundaries creating balance in your marriage, and then we'll talk about trying to resolve some of these issues that you might run into. All right, guys, I've said it a couple of times, but you need to clean yourself. We can smell you from here. Take a second to head over to 76supply.com. It's our little company, and it's a way that you guys can help support the show and help support our cause. Head over to 76supply.com. Because quite frankly, your soap stinks. It's got so many different chemicals inside. We stripped all of that away. It's a simple bar, what we consider a simple bar of soap. It smells good. It does exactly what it's designed to do. Scrub all them nasties away. Also, we've got candles that are out. They're hand poured. Everything is 100% in the USA. The jar, the lid, the wax, everything inside of them is made in the USA. Also, a portion of the proceeds goes to help a veteran's cause. Again, veteran-owned, 100% made in America, because, yeah, made in America still means something. Hey, if you ever found yourself in Kansas City and, you think to yourself, boy, Kansas City is known for barbecue, right? What more do you want than barbecue when you're traveling through Kansas City, or you live in Kansas City and you need to go to the best barbecue place out there? There's only one place to stop, and that's Crazy Good Eats. We're talking competition-style barbecue beans. You don't even need to get meat, because there are chopped up burn ends in the beans. They are magnificent. Oh, it's just... Smithsonian called them one day and said, we need some beans for display. They're that good. They deserve a spot in the Smithsonian. Their beans are that good. Oh my gosh. Okay, enough about the beans. The ribs, the chicken, the burn ends, even the loaded baked potato salad. Everything is competition quality, and it's just crazy good. But that's why they call it Crazy Good Eats. So, when you're in Kansas City the next time, check out Crazy Good Eats. You will not be disappointed. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry about the little break, but we needed to say a couple of things about some things that help support us in more than just monetary ways. Enough can be said about either one of those things. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, don't we have another snack to go over? What do we got? Pumpkin spice Twinkies. What? Oh my God! Hurry up! They've been sitting on there on the counter
for like a whole week.
For a week. All week they've been sitting there, and I have not.
Because we're opening it on the show.
We're opening it here live with you guys. Oh, hurry up! Okay. As you're like, okay. There we go. This nice little puff pastry. All right.
Pumpkin spice cream.
As we get ready to give our thoughts on a pumpkin spice Twinkie, let's jump back into this whole idea of boundaries in a marriage and how it creates balance. Because really it does. Does it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how does it create balance?
You have to have balance in everything in your whole entire life. I mean, they said here, it's something that God has wired into every system. Every system tries to find balance in a way it can. And many dimensions need to be balanced in a marriage. Power, strength, togetherness, sex, and so on. Problems come when, instead of trading places in those areas, one spouse is always powerful and the other is powerless. Strong, the other is weak.
So
you have to be balanced together.
Yeah.
Not one over the other.
So I want to give I'll give you another look into what we do in creating balance, because you honestly you can't have too much of one person.
Yeah.
You can have too much of each other, and you have to have a level of balance. There are some people out there, there are some marriages out there that are on the phone constantly. The wife is checking on her husband because she's so worried that something else is going to happen, or the husband is constantly wanting to know where the wife is, probably because he knows she's at the store spending all the money. But they're constantly on each other, wanting to know, and they're constantly talking and texting and this and that, and there's no space. There's no space at all.
Well, don't you have things to do during the day
besides hovering over each other? Yeah.
I mean, I'm busy during the day when I'm at work, and I know you're busy, so...
Yeah.
I mean, still text you for things,
but that's the thing. There has to be some sort of balance, and for us, we really don't text a lot during the day. It creates that desire to hurry up and want to get home and spend some time together. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's instead of communicating all day long, getting home, and then just sit. You got nothing to talk about. That's boring. Nobody wants that.
I was going to ask if you were trying.
I am. I'm trying to talk. You can't talk with a pumpkin spice cookie in your mouth.
You just did.
That's rude. What are your thoughts on the Twinkie? It's not bad.
Maybe it's just because we've changed our diet, and I don't eat. I guess I don't eat a whole lot of sweets anymore like I thought I did.
No.
So everything's kind of sweet.
That's a really bad picture for it to freeze on.
Right?
Oh, wow.
That's awful.
Okay. So you've got to have balance in your marriage. You have to concede some time to them, and they have to concede some time back. Whether it's one-on-one time, or whether she wants to go out with her girlfriends to the bookstore, or he wants to go play around to golf, or
I don't know if I have any friends that want to go to the bookstore as much as I do.
But I'm using that as an example.
I know, but I was just thinking about that as you were saying it. I'm trying to think. Because I don't think my sisters would go. They don't read as...
They don't read as much as you.
I don't think so. Rosie wants to, but...
Well, she doesn't have time.
I don't think she would enjoy a bookstore as much as I would.
Mm-mm.
I get excited going into a bookstore.
I get excited going to the bookstore too.
That's why you're not the only person to go to the bookstore with.
So, but again, there's a balance, and you have to have multiple layers in your marriage. You have to be willing to concede time and say, okay, this is something you like. So I'm going to balance my time with something that you like, and I'm not expecting anything in return. I just want to spend time with you doing something you want to do. The balance to that is it creates a desire for you to want to spend time with me doing something that I want to do. There's no motive behind, okay, well, fine. If we go to the bookstore, can we go to the sporting goods store so I can look at something?
Well, sometimes we do that, though.
Something we do?
Sometimes
You are a grown woman talking about doo-dooing.
You're a grown man saying the word.
I'm a grown man-child. I can say doo-dooing. Okay. Sorry, I did go kind
But
of...
no, sometimes we'll do that. And you're like, hey, since we're over here, there's this store. Can we just stop in? And it's like, sure.
Yeah. But you're right there.
And I don't mind. I mean, I have as much fun as I do in the bookstore, but...
Well... Sorry to hear that. You get to look at the clothes.
They're usually expensive.
They are expensive. Clothes in themselves are expensive.
But then you go to like Dick's or even like Cabela's, and they'll have nice things. Like I love sweaters.
They're all so expensive.
Sweaters are like $100, and I'm like, holy moly.
And even holy moly sweaters, they got holes in them.
They have jeans with holes in them.
Who buys a pair of jeans with holes in them?
My dad would ask my sisters that.
I can't really eat and talk, so I'll have to say that. Yeah.
I feel like I have to sneeze again.
So sneeze. Okay, there you go. All right. So there's balance. Now, what happens when there's a boundary issue? You have to resolve it. We have kind of condensed the 9 different points in the book. They had 9 different points, and some of them really blended in with each other.
It was kind of like the same thing, but just worded differently again, and it's kind of like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense, because it's kind of the same concept as the last one.
So what we did is we spent a few minutes kind of dialing things down, condensing them into 5.
Yes.
So we've got 5...
I guess resolutions is what it would be.
5 steps to resolving your boundary issues in a marriage. And you could use this, you could actually use it in any other type of relationship that you have, whether it's with a child or a coworker or a family member.
Friends.
If you have friends. Neighbors. Neighbors.
We don't have any neighbors.
We have a neighbor on that side and on this side.
But then no neighbors.
No. Only horses have neighbors. Anyway. Okay, so number one is identify the problem. Duh. Okay.
They're all
there's
to you.
There's a problem. Okay. What is step 2? Step 2 is establish and use a support system.
Yeah, you've been my support system in trying to establish boundaries, so I really appreciate it.
And, through this entire thing, we've been each other's support systems.
I feel like I rely on you a lot.
And that's okay. And again, it goes back to the balance thing.
I know, but I feel like I'm always like, hey, I've got this problem.
You're not as broken as you think.
And then I realize I'm giving you all, I'm dumping all this on you. Don't you have something? Is there something that's bothering you?
Okay, so we've identified the problem.
Because I feel like I have a lot more issues than you do.
We have a support system.
Yes.
Now, the idea of a support system, let's look outside of the box. Let's think, okay, well, an alcoholic would have a support system. They would have somebody within their support group for AA that they could rely on. They've got a buddy that they can rely on and say, okay, man, I'm struggling. I'm getting ready to stop off at the bar. I had a long day. I need some help. And then that buddy can be there for you.
Well, and it also said in here it could be a therapist, a marriage counselor, a pastor.
And there's different places to go, and that's the thing is.
Well, it could be also a friend that you've already established boundaries with that maybe will help you establish boundaries with others too. So kind of like how I go to you for all my boundary issues to be like, okay, what do I do? How do I handle this? But I also will text you my little victories.
But you have to celebrate it. So that's step number 3 is practice what you preach, and it's starting small. You don't have to go off the deep end.
Kind of like how we talked about how like working out, because it says in there like it's like you're working a muscle.
Yeah, your boundary muscle. I wrote that down.
Yeah. But it made me think of like how we were talking earlier about working out and how you can't go and immediately start doing heavy things. You have to start.
Right, you have to build up to it.
Yeah.
So start small. It can be. I'm trying to think of a small boundary, but that's irrelevant.
Well, they suggested in here, like, maybe telling a friend that you can't go to lunch right now because something else is going on,
or telling a coworker off.
Yes. I don't know if it was small like
that, but
just small little things that may not be as a big deal as saying, hey, stay out of my life for a while.
Right. Wow, that was hard.
That would be a very big power.
That would be huge, yeah.
Because obviously
that's like going to the Olympics if we're talking about weights. You can't just go straight to the Olympics. You gotta go to the kiddie pool.
I was trying to think of an example without
I know. I know. I get what you're saying. And I think for the most part they understand what you're saying as well.
Okay.
So
I think we go across as rude.
No, it didn't come across as rude.
Okay.
But along with the whole practice what you preach and starting small, report back. Report back to your support system, like what you did earlier this week, and that was you texted me and you like, I've got a small victory. I want to celebrate. I want to,
Well, I think at first I didn't know if it was a celebration. I just needed to vent because I had done it, and then I felt really kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, because I felt. I'm sure I was probably red-faced.
Yeah, you probably were.
I mean,
didn't work, did it?
It didn't go as I planned for it to go, but I think I've established some type of.
But you did. You established a boundary that tells that other person, hey, so this is not acceptable, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
Yeah.
And so kudos for you. I gave you like a high five in the air, and you probably, I don't know if you got it or not,
but yeah, so it gave you a little bit of confidence. I feel like when you start small like that, and you do, well, I don't know if that, to me that was huge.
Well, yeah, but when you start small, it kind of has that snowball effect that, okay, well, like the snowball rolling down a hill, it builds from there.
You have confidence to maybe do the next step that might be a little bit bigger.
It makes it a little easier to say no to the next person. Or sometimes it could even be saying yes to the next person. So eventually, you're saying no to something really big, like what happened earlier today, and which I'll go back to what I teased earlier. Something that'll come out later this week. I'll share it with you. So you'll have to pay attention to the StaffordVoice.com for that one. But to know a little bit more about what I'm getting ready to say. But you have to have the confidence to do the big things. And you can't get the confidence for the big things without doing the small things first. So that kind of goes into step number 4, and that's being proactive, not reactive.
And that's hard to do.
It is.
That one I think I'm going to have to practice more and
build your boundary muscles. Yeah.
Because sometimes my immediate reaction is like, getting all upset instead of maybe just waiting for a minute and trying to process my thoughts and feelings so that I don't say anything that can hurt someone more or hurt myself more.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those ones that I don't want to get it resolved and then move on and let's go. And sometimes
but you're also the person that can sometimes be a little over empathetic. So that's in that case, yeah, you have to start out small.
Yeah. Well, and it makes me feel good to start out small. So I feel like I've done some small little things so that I was able to do the other thing earlier this week that made it kind of a big victory. Maybe I was really scared.
So, and to kind of go back to piggyback what I was saying earlier about what happened earlier today, go back to step number 2. I swear, if something happens during the middle of this broadcast,
It's because of the cat.
it's because of the cat.
She's walking around the desk.
Walking around all the cables and this and that, and it could be bad. So, go back to your support system. That support system is built to help create accountability. So you celebrated a small victory with your quote-unquote support system, your accountability partner. Well, for me, my accountability partner was right in the next room. With what happened earlier.
I did feel bad that I wasn't right there next to you.
But it's okay, because I had already built up the muscle, the boundary muscle, per se.
I had lots of confidence.
But again, it does. It comes back to that confidence of having established enough small boundaries and practiced enough to where when the time is right, you can tackle the bigger ones. And for me, that was a really big one.
Oh, I'm sure. That was like in Donald Trump's huge, bigly.
Huge, bigly, huge. Okay.
I was in the next room sweating.
But that wasn't, and honestly, this really wasn't a proactive thing. It was more of a proactive in the sense that we had already talked about what the boundary was going to be.
Yes.
Reactive for the situation
because we didn't know it was going to happen.
Because we didn't know it was when it was going to happen.
Yeah. But you handled it.
I thought I did okay.
You did a beautiful job. Me, I was sweating. I could feel the heat rising in my chest and my face. My ears were on fire. And then I'm just going to sit right here.
I realized that I totally forgot to take that off the screen.
Oh.
So, it's whatever. Anyway. So, number 5, I think we kind of touched on it, and that's taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
That, you take the responsibility, whatever the boundary is, when you take the responsibility for it, you own what's going to happen. No matter what, you've already accepted the consequence. You're ready to celebrate the victory or the defeat. It does not matter. You've already answered the terms in your head and in your heart. So, again, if we wanted to run down those again, starting with number 1 to resolving boundary issues, whether it's whatever type of relationship. And I apologize. I don't know why we're.
This is like everybody's having.
Yeah, I don't know why it says that we're echoing. But I apologize. So step number 1 is identify the problem. That's kind of the duh moment. Okay, realize. Problem. Number 2 is establishing and using a support system. Number 3 is practice what you preach. So with your support system, you have put things in place and you're ready to practice putting those into play. I hope that that's what the problem was.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Hopefully,
at the end of the show.
By the end of the show, we will have probably figured out what the echoing was. It was a problem with the software. We're going to blame the software. We're blaming the software on that one. Because I added that earlier because one of the things we needed to be able to talk through, and I was concerned. Okay, anyway, my fault. I'm sorry.
It will happen.
It won't. It won't happen next time. I will have figured it out. I did. I fixed it. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you fixed it.
It's okay now. Yes, finally. We're not going to go back and
redo
the show.
Sorry.
If you want to hear it without the echoing, you'll be able to catch the podcast later. I apologize. The audio for the video is not going to be 100% quality like what you're used to. Basically, what was happening is the software was told that there were two microphones. It was picking up two different microphones.
Oh, okay. And we only have one.
Right. So it was doubling. It was doubling the microphone to them.
Oh no.
So it's kind of like it was in stereo, but it was not stereo. It was like one speaker, but stereo.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
We still love you guys.
We do. You guys are awesome to have stuck through this whole time with some echoing. Hopefully it really wasn't that bad. So let's just start those over because I don't even remember where I was. Resolution in boundaries. Number 1, identify the problem. Number 2 is establish and use the support system. Number 3 is practicing what you preached. And, start small. It's okay to build your boundary muscle. You don't have to go in at a hunt. You don't have to enter the race going 300 miles an hour. If you have to take off and go like in first
a turtle
gear,
pace.
If you got to go as a turtle, go as a turtle. It's okay. Number 4 is be proactive in setting boundaries. Number 5 is to take responsibility. When you own it, own it. You've already you've already done all the other hard work, and now it's just sitting back and taking responsibility for it's taking responsibility for the consequences, whether they're good or bad. You've already answered them in your head and in your heart. So, yeah. Married with boundaries. Whew!
Well, like we said at the beginning, I think we went into this chapter thinking, we don't need this chapter.
We didn't even talk about the idea that, I had established a boundary, that I had a boundary established and didn't even realize it, and that's with working out.
Oh, well, I didn't even realize you even had a boundary in that.
Yeah.
I accepted it. I'm fine with it. But yeah, I mean, that's his way of de-stressing from the day, just to get any stress or whatever
it is. And sometimes I'll even go down there. When I'm down there, I'm trying to sort things out in my head.
But I look at it as a way for me because sometimes I get off work late, I work at it as a way for me as I've got some extra time to get stuff ready for dinner so that when he's done, we can sit down and eat. So for me, it's kind of like extra time. So I have no problem with you going down there. Plus, I see how it makes you feel.
Yeah, because the last thing that you want to do is you want to dump all of your bad stuff. You don't need to dump the bad stuff during a bad moment.
No, it's not going to turn out
You need
well.
to be right, and it's not. We've been there. We've had our days, okay?
We didn't have boundaries at the beginning of our marriage.
We did not. I wish we could go back. I'm not saying I want to go back and try it all over again differently, because otherwise we'd be in a completely different outcome right now.
Yeah. And
who's to say it would be as good as it is now?
You don't know, and I don't want to test it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade all of the bads for the goods.
Yeah.
You in order to really have a taste for the good, you have to have the bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it works out for us. And yeah, we didn't even realize that was a boundary that either one of us had established or accepted or...
Oh, yeah.
And then he gives me my time to read.
I do.
And take naps. Like the nap queen over here.
Okay. So, in summing all of this up, if we had to put one word to boundaries in a marriage, what would that one word be?
Communicate.
Communication is key to a marriage. Communication is key to every relationship that you will ever encounter.
Even when it's hard and you feel vulnerable, you still need to communicate, because
the other person may not know.
Yeah, and they can't read your mind. So, and
I know what you're thinking right now.
Tacos.
You don't have to tell them. I already know what you're thinking. They don't.
I know, but it's like a running.
It's a running joke
between us for what years
I could have been like tacos, and you
Okay.
could have been like, "Oh my God, you were totally right."
Guessed it. You know I love Mexican food.
We'll try it again next week. Okay, speaking of next week, what are we going to talk about next week?
I think it's boundaries with your children.
Oh boy, the kids
And
are going to have to watch that one.
Well, right now I'm going to tell you, I feel like boundaries with our kids.
I really don't feel like we have a problem.
I don't. I respect their boundaries.
And I think they give it right back. They respect ours.
And I think it's the same thing as, I think we've just, maybe at the beginning of all the relationships, like when Daniel moved out and got married, I think there was some trouble there. But I think we've really have.
But there's always been respect.
Yeah.
Of whatever the boundaries were.
Between both.
Yeah.
Between them and
giving
us.
space and having to say, okay, I need to take away. I need you to give me back space because I need to have some close time.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be an interesting topic to cover.
Yeah. So hopefully it's all good.
It's all good in the hood. The neighborhood. You want to be my neighbor?
Sorry.
I don't even know what to say right now. That joke just came full circle. Love it. That's what I like. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Guys, you are awesome. I really hope that this one doesn't screw up. Let me check. Nope. Okay. If you aren't following us on social media, please, do so. Obviously, you probably are because you're watching on the Facebooks at the Stafford Voice. You can check what's happening over on the Instagrams. Just search for, obviously, the Stafford Voice. On the Twitters, it's at Stafford Voice. We're having fun tonight.
We love you too, guys.
We do. Also, if you really want to keep up and carry on and continue some of these conversations, we really, really want to invite you into our server over on Discord. I've dropped a few links in the chat. So you need to go over there and join us in the lounge. We've got a game room where we can play some games. We can play some old-fashioned tic-tac-toe or some Connect 4. You can keep up and know what's going on with the show, what's coming up, and if we have questions about some things, you guys can jump in there and help us sort things out, I guess. Kind of be our accountability partners, per se. And the more activity that you have, you can progress on the leaderboard, and it actually moves you up in rank. You'll start out as a civilian, and then you move up to a specialist, and then eventually you become a general, and it's kind of fun the way we've got it set up. So, yeah. And if you don't see the link in the chat, you can head over to thestaffordvoice.com, and there's a little purple Discord button over there. Just click that, and it'll take you right over, and you can join there. So, in conclusion, we really want to thank you guys for chilling out with us tonight. We've had a blast talking about these things. Talking about boundaries in marriage. A difficult topic. I mean, it's a big topic.
It is, but I feel like I've been kind of proud with myself for opening up a little bit.
Yes, I'm extremely proud of you for, your small little victories throughout the week.
Well, I'm just saying, even opening up and talking to them, too. I mean, that's not necessarily,
right.
But...
So as your accountability partner, high five.
High five.
All right. Okay. You got any closing words you want to say?
Thank you for watching and following along with us, and we appreciate all the love that you give us and all the comments, and keep on following us.
We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so and you're listening to the podcast or wherever you're watching, feel free to leave a review or like the show, share it, whatever you got to do. We'd really like to get some feedback from you guys. Or if there's a topic you'd like to have us covered, feel free to reach out to us on one of the different social medias, or if you want to keep it kind of confidential, your comments confidential, whatever they are, you can email us, the staffordvoice@gmail.com, and we will take it from there. Again, thank you guys so much. You guys are more than friends. You guys are family. We really appreciate it. And until next week, thanks, and God bless.